Alright folks, welcome back to the Don's channel. I am the Donfather, and before I start I want to get the elephant out of the room. Yes, I'm fresh shaven, the beard is gone, still need a haircut, and yes, I am overweight. Thanks for noticing. Anyway, we're on to round 14 in the AFL, year 2020 of course. Hawks on Thursday versus Essendon at the Adelaide Oval. Hawks going into this with 3 straight losses, a win and a loss, 4 losses out of 5. Really crazy to think, if you think the size of this footy club. Really poor 2020 for them. Essendon, they haven't got a win, so Hawks have one more win than Essendon. 2 losses, a draw, and 2 losses for Essendon. All that being said, there was moments in that Essendon game that gave me belief against Richmond, of course, the Dreamtime game, and they gave me hope. They made me think Essendon, actually, they're not a terrible team at all. The form would suggest they're not very good. However, when you watch them, they're not going to, I've said it time and time again, they're not going to absolutely blow you away, but they're a team that, obviously not recently, that were actually good at just grinding out results and getting narrow wins. However, this game is very much there for the taking for either side. I think defensively, Hawks have been really poor. I've been quite surprised at just how bad they've been at the back. Offensively as well, not convinced by them. I think Essendon, not amazing at the back either, but maybe, I think, would maybe take this game with their more forward-thinking players. I'm going to go for an Essendon win, just because I think, from what I saw against Richmond last week, they give me something to believe in when it comes to them. They lost 61-73, and as I said, watched some of that there, and they were pretty good coming forward, so Essendon win. Next game up, 2 games on Thursday then, so this one's Richmond versus Eagles, which is arguably the best game of round 14. It's at the Metricon Stadium in the Gold Coast. Richmond, look, they've lost 1, they've won 4. Obviously, the last 2 games have resulted in a win, a loss, and 2 games before that were wins. Eagles with an absolutely phenomenal record going into this, obviously leaving Western Australia now to go out to the Gold Coast in Queensland with a phenomenal record of wins. And not only that, they're playing the most ruthless footy, I believe, right now in the competition, albeit they weren't massively high scoring against the Giants, but they did win 61-49. I'm absolutely confident that it's going to be an Eagles win based on what I've been watching. But Richmond are a big team, and this is the sort of game I could imagine they would be fired up for. So it really could go either way, but I'm convinced the Eagles will win. Having said that though, they are travelling for their first game back since playing in Western Australia, so we'll see how it goes. Should have the makings of an absolute classic, but sometimes when 2 big teams go up against each other, they do cancel each other out. But I believe both teams are now starting to find a run of form, playing nice forward-thinking footy. It should be a good game. Hopefully for the neutral we'll get a good game, but I'm gonna go, as I said, with an Eagles win. First game up Friday, in fact no, the only game Friday, sorry, Friday the 28th of August. Bulldogs versus Geelong at the Metricon again. Bulldogs going into this with 2 wins and 3 losses before that, and Geelong with 4 wins and a loss. So they've won 4 out of 5. Bulldogs have only managed 2 out of the last 5 games, but I'm going to go against that, not just because I'm a Bulldogs fan and you should probably never back your own team. Something about the Bulldogs, something in my gut tells me the Bulldogs are going to do something here against Geelong. I don't know what it is. Geelong have absolutely got the form in their favour going into this one, so I'm going against my brain. I'm possibly going with my heart, but there's something in my gut says Bulldogs are actually, there's something clicking with them right now. They're looking good. I think Astronaut's playing good stuff. The midfield's always been pretty good with McRae, Bontempelli, Libber. There's so many players in there. Bazalenka, he's absolutely brilliant. So many players in there, really good. Midfield is sound. Very sound from the Bulldogs. but it's certainly an area that they need to be more ruthless in, and is the forward positions. Geelong, look, they're Geelong. They're awash with talent from back to front, like the Eagles. I think they've got experience in there as well. But all that being said, I'm going to go, I suppose I'm going with the heart. I want the Bulldogs to win. Maybe I'm crazy. Time will tell. Friday, we'll see what happens on Friday, but I'm going with a Bulldogs win. Can the doggies! Saturday then, there's 3 games on Saturday. Only 8 fixtures this weekend, or this round of footy. First up's Port versus Swans at the Adelaide Oval. Swans are hemming and hawing all campaign, aren't they? I don't think I've updated my ladder, so I won't go by that. Port have got 4 wins out of 5, obviously winning round 13 and losing the round 12. And Swans have managed 2 wins out of 5 to Port's 4 wins out of 5. I'm getting told time and time again on YouTube, the Swans, they're in a false position, they play good stuff, something's going to click, they've got loads of young players. This could be true, but I believe 2020 is not going to be the year for the Swans to actually show that. I actually agree 100% with what I'm reading. You know who you are, it's Ricky. You know what you know who you are, mate. I'm listening to you and I'm reading it, and I believe in what you're saying. I'm just not seeing it in 2020. If that's a fair, I hope you can appreciate that's a fair assessment that I can give it. I think Swans are certainly in a transition period, and we're not seeing it just coming to fruition yet. And I wouldn't dream of ruling out what you're saying. You see them more than I am. You support them, obviously. So you obviously believe in what they're trying to build there. I just don't see it in 2020 yet. I'm not saying you won't see it towards the end of the 2020 campaign. There'll be glimpses of it coming in, but this game is probably just too difficult for Swans. I'm going with Port. Pretty straightforward win at the Adelaide Oval, I'd imagine, against the Swans. All that being said, I think Port will be disappointed with a couple of losses they've had this year, but I know they've been pretty low scoring as well. They've been accused of not being ruthless and maybe not kicking straight. But I think this is a game that Port would welcome right now against the Swans, who are one of the lesser informed teams in the competition. So Port win, not going to say too much on it. Freo versus the Giants at the Optus. Home advantage for Freo. Giants are off the back of 3 losses. Freo have got 3 wins out of 5. Giants have only managed 2 out of 5. And as I say, they're going into this with 3 losses at the Optus. Freo are a difficult one to judge, aren't they? One day they'll turn up and beat a big team. The next day, the next round, they'll go out and get beat off somebody. You would think, why have you went out and got beat in this game when you went and won a game nobody expected you to win? Now you went and lost this. They don't make sense, Freo. Freo have got a lot of talent. I really enjoy watching them. See when Freo are on and they're playing nice stuff. They're one of the nicest teams to watch, but they're frustrating. That's the way I'll assess Freo. They're a frustrating team. You just want to get somebody's head and bang it off a wall. Come on, what are you doing? Consistency is not their friend, Freo. But the Giants, I think this is the game the Giants need. I think they're strong, the Giants. They're playing really poor stuff in 2020. I've got to be honest. I wouldn't be surprised based on the form if they finished outside the top 8. But then again, I wouldn't be surprised if they went on a rampage and run and won every game, because they've got so much talent in their squad. So I think it's a false position for the Giants. I would say the Giants are in a false position. I think when they click, they could go on a run and win everything, play finals footy. Like, they are a good side. You don't become a bad side. They're just out of form. They're inconsistent. They're not playing with form, but they're a strong team. They need a good victory to get that confidence back up and then build on it and try and find a bit of momentum and get the consistency going. And I believe that Freo is possibly the game for them. And that is why I have backed the Giants for the win. Last game on Saturday then, the D's versus St Kilda. Of course, Melbourne here, Traeger Park, Teo Stadium, or Teo? Don't know what the hell we pronounce that, but Traeger Park anyway. Melbourne have won 3 out of 5. Lost last week, and obviously they won 3 in a row before that, and they lost the game before that. St Kilda have also won 3 out of 5. I love watching St Kilda play. One of my favourite teams in 2020 to watch. Lost last week. That was against the Lions by 2 points. That was whoa, what a cruel finish in the end. But anyway, they've only just lost it, and lost it by the skin of their teeth there at the Lions. But this is kind of an evenly matched game in terms of form. But I don't believe it's an evenly matched game or the two teams, if you put them head to head. I believe what we've seen from St Kilda in 2020 is just such a refreshing, they're such a refreshing team to watch. They play some of the most sort of fastest counter-attacking footy in the competition. They're very, very aggressive going forward. They don't mince about, and it's just enjoyable to watch. It's really, really good footy to watch. Having said that though, form would suggest this could go either way. I don't think so. I think St Kilda are a strong team, and they're going to have enough to beat Melbourne on the day for the last game on Saturday. St Kilda win. The oldest rivalry in Victoria, you would imagine, coming in the way of Carlton versus Collingwood. No love lost between these two sides. Simply put, they hate each other, don't they? There's no doubt about that. This one's at the Gabba. Very, very strange indeed to see this fixture not played at the MCG, given the size and history of both footy clubs. Both teams, actually, Carlton go into it with the best form with 3 wins out of 5. Collingwood only managing 2. Look, I've enjoyed a sort of improved season from Carlton so far. I think Collingwood, by their standards, by what they've set for themselves over the last so many years, this is pretty poor campaign for them. I think all Magpies fans could agree. It's been very, very disappointing. A lot of that's down to, of course, injuries that they've faced. They've also faced quite a lot of off-the-field issues with suspensions as well, added to that. I think obviously they're a team that's used to playing at the MCG. They've just not had that. So maybe that's part of why they've not had the form. I do not know. This one was quite a difficult one to pick, but I'm going to go with it based on the fact that I still think Collingwood, in terms of squad depth and what they can put out on the footy field, kind of edge it over Carlton. I don't care either way. If my tips are over by this point, I would like to see Carlton win, because I think something special is close to happening at Carlton. 2020 might not be it yet, but if they can keep this team and add 1 or 2 brilliant young draft picks, something could actually click, and I mean click big time for Carlton. And it would be nice to see a sleeping giant rise once again, a phoenix rising from the ashes. But I'm just not convinced 2020 they're fully there yet. Having said that though, Collingwood's there for the taking. This is a very, very interesting game. Quite tight. Probably the tightest the two teams going into this fixture over the last few years. I would probably think you would have went Collingwood every time, and quite convincingly picked Collingwood. But it leaves a lot more food for thought, this one. Judging it on both teams' form, both teams' 2020 so far, really isn't a lot between them. But I'm going to go with Collingwood, and that is going to be met with outrage by my Carlton following that I have on the channel, and probably like a bit of relief from the Magpies that people that are maybe going to be backing them for this one. I don't know. As I said, if the tip's over by this point, if I was neutrally watching this one, I'd probably want Carlton to win, because I think a club of their size deserves a little bit of success for their faithful following they've had, and God knows they've not had anything to cheer about for many a year. So on that note, I would say I want Carlton to win, but for the tipping comp, I'm going and my prediction, just based on this, I think Collingwood will do it. Last game of as I said, round 14. Only 8 games in this this round of round 14. Gold Coast Suns versus North Melbourne. Probably one of the most uninteresting games for the neutral. Looking at Gold Coast Suns haven't managed a win in 5 games. North Melbourne have managed 1. Gold Coast lost 2, drew 1, lost 2. North Melbourne off the back of 4 straight defeats and winning the round before that. This one is a home advantage for the Gold Coast Suns. I've actually backed Gold Coast Suns for the victory. And what I'm going to say about this game is, yes, when you look at it as a neutral, you go, oh, I don't know if I'll bother watching that. Don't make that mistake, because there's been so many times I've thought, oh, there's no big teams involved, or there's no teams in form going into this one, and I've not watched it, and it's actually had the makings of a cracker. So there's been games I've tuned into that I've maybe thought, this probably won't be a good game, and they've been absolutely sensational to watch. So don't write this one off for going to be a poor game. It's got the potential to be a very, very, very good game. I think Gold Coast Suns, obviously with Rowell being injured, it's been a huge blow to them. They found like 3 straight wins. They looked good, they were playing nice stuff, they were difficult to beat, they were getting points on the board when they were losing, but they've just lost that form, they've lost that sort of fire and that little bit of energy that they had towards the start of 2020. But I think this is a good game for them. North Melbourne have been average, bang average, for quite some rounds now, and I actually think Gold Coast Suns are the better team in 2020, better team to watch, probably better attacking players in their team, and I fancy them with a home game, bit of crowd there. Gold Coast Suns win. So just quickly running through my teams who I'm tipping for this week, this round of footy: Essendon, Eagles, Bulldogs, Port, Giants, St Kilda, Collingwood and the Gold Coast Suns. Good luck everyone who's playing. As I say, as a neutral, if I'm tuning into these games, I don't really care who wins, but for my tipping comp, I hope I'm right. Last week I managed 9 out of 9, absolutely incredible stuff. Big shout out to Dylan, who puts, when I do my tips, he puts a bet on for me out of his own hard-earned cash, and he donates the money to the channel. So Dylan, mate, absolute legend that you are. Thanks very much. You're a good friend of mine and a great supporter of the channel, and you deserve that shout out, by the way. Thanks very much, mate. Much appreciated. It will never get taken for granted. Anyway, just quickly, just to remind you, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new to it, and fire the bell on so you don't miss any of our videos when we upload them. Loads of Australia content to come as well, not just footy. So if you're not really a footy fan but you're an Aussie, stay tuned for that. There's going to be some cool stuff, burnouts, a little bit of other stuff Aussie wise that I'm going to add in there too. I haven't been doing videos this week. Something serious has happened within my family, so that's took massive priority. Also, just mentioning what I'm saying about subscribing, don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and also, like Dylan, supports the channel. If you'd like to support and help the channel grow, and also fund our trip down under when we can safely do it, whenever that'll be, hopefully sooner rather than later. We're planning on doing an AFL vlogging trip down under. If that's something you'd like to help support, then check out our Patreon or our one-off donation page. It's a Just Giving page if you'd like to do that. Thanks very much, everyone. Enjoy the footy this weekend. You deserve it, particularly the people in Victoria who have got quite a serious lockdown right now. Of course, you've got a curfew in Melbourne and parts of Victoria outside Melbourne as well. I think there's other parts now got curfew. Anyway, look, it's not a good situation. It's really, really difficult. Look after yourselves and each other. Look after your mental health. I think that's very, very important to be pointed out, because when you get your sort of freedoms took off you, it can have a detrimental effect on your mental well-being. So do look after each other. Do pick up a phone for family members who maybe aren't doing too well, or friends, and I really do mean that, because I know exactly what it feels like. So as I say, big shout out to people from Victoria. Chin up, and hopefully you can come out the other side of this quickly. Thanks very much, everyone. And I really do appreciate the support. We'll see you all soon. Goodbye.